Hello, good folks of internet land, ladies, gentlemen and otherwise unnamed entities. It is that time of the month again. It is Iron Man buildy time, and in this month's package we have 4 magazines and 4 sets of parts, just for a change, just to mix things up a bit. And in this parts selection, however, we have what appears to be some kind of PE or photo etch. It's a weird one, that, because PE to people of my generation typically meant some form of physical exertion in a class at school that you really didn't enjoy, when you'd rather be sitting reading a book, especially when they made you play football, because football, etc. But of course, in model making terms, PE is photo etch, which is thin brass or similar metal plates etched with a chemical or a laser, or are they doing lasers? I don't know, I'm really not sure, but anyway, etched. And this allows you to fold them into shapes and make things that are more scale realistic than you could achieve with plastic in the same sort of thickness, which is marvellous. So we'll see where they go shortly. I don't know if I've got these in the right order, but what we're going to do right now is jump into magazine number 83, which is going to be followed by 84, 85 and 86, surprisingly, and see which little package we are dealing with first, and we'll take it from there. Straight into the build, and let's have a look at what we have. Okay, we've got one of the photo etch pieces. We've got, I think it's this one. Upper left, right flap, rear right shoulder plate. I think we're working with this one. Yep, we're working with this one. So we've got a packet of screws, SP. We're screwing into plastic. We've got a little piece of photo etchy type material. I'll scoot in close and let you have a look at that. And there's a couple of little etched fold lines. So we're going to be doing a minimal bit of folding, which looks like hinge parts, which is kind of cool. We've got 1, 2, 3 plastic pieces, and we've got the screws. So I'm going to scoot in for you. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And here is the photo etch sheet, and as you can see, very, very thin, really nice crisp detail because of its thinness, and you can see these little etch lines here. This is where we're going to fold them. I'm not going to fold it just yet because I need to find out which way we're folding it. We're folding it in this direction. I've just had a glance at the thing, but anyway, zooming back out so we can see what we are working with. And we have a section with hinges, and I'm assuming the screws are going to work as the hinges rather than a pin. So first thing we're going to do with a pair of tweezers, let me get a pair of tweezers, good sturdy tweezers, to enable us to fold very accurately along the fold lines. We are going to fold up these hingy sections thusly. A pair of pliers would also do the same job. In fact, I do believe I have just the thing. I've got a couple of pairs of smooth pliers. You don't want to use serrated teeth ones for obvious reasons. Those obvious reasons being you will mark the metal, and if it's visible it will look unsightly. So these should do the job nicely. And also these with kind of slightly bendy nose ones. Anyway, so we've bent those up into to form a hinge shape, as one can see there. And we now take this large piece, we take this slightly smaller piece like so. Let's zoom in a bit so we can see what's going on here. So we place this over here thusly. Okay, righty-ho, we turn this over and we place this in here. So that's that turned over, and then we take this bit that we've just folded over here like so, and that sits inside of here. And now I'm assuming we stick in 2 of these screws, of which we have 3. So flipping over the page. Before we do that, we actually sit this third piece on top, which sandwiches the thin metal pieces. I like this. Nice detail. It's and presumably this will be visible when flaps are raised or lifted or moved or whatever we're doing with them. So yeah, nice. Going to be a nice bit of detail in there. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we take 2 of these screws and a screwdriver. These are very long screws. Obviously they're designed in such a way that they will screw right in and meet sort of somewhere in the middle of that central piece, because obviously that would fall out if not. So I need to first get that through the metal hinge bit. Come on now, don't be awkward. There we go. And then it's a little bit fiddly because obviously everything has to be lined up accordingly. There we go. So screw that right the way through there. Before I tighten that up, I'm going to put the other one in because it will give me a better chance of getting everything properly aligned. I don't know if that piece of metal is supposed to stay flat or if we curve that to the shape of this at some point, but I'm going to leave it flat for the moment rather than curve it and find out that we don't later. Here we go. Here we go. And that appears to complete this section. This is going to go onto the back of the armour. I'm assuming, is that meant to stay there or is that meant to pivot? I'm not quite sure. I have a feeling the whole thing's meant to pivot up rather than the metal plate stay in place. Presumably this sort of lifts up and reveals other sections. I'm not sure, but as we can see from this diagram here, this is where this fits, and then another piece is going to connect into there. Whether we've got that in this series of 4, I don't know. That there is showing the metal piece pivoting, however. Maybe I've tightened that up too much. I'm going to loosen it ever so slightly, so we can see if, okay, yep, so we can actually move that independently. So there you go. Top tip, do not tighten this up too much. Okay, that's magazine number 83 done. Scoot that out of the way, put that aside. Magazine number 84 is going to be a carbon copy of magazine number 83, but the other side. So to spare you the agony of watching me fumble through that again, I am going to zip through this section like a streak of lightning, like the Flash. That's the wrong universe, isn't it? That's DC. Who's fast in Marvel? Oh, what's his face? I can't remember his name. Help me out in the comments. It's it's the guy with the goggles. Who? Well, his goggles in X-Men, wasn't it? And yeah, anyway, what on earth was his name? Good heavens. The fast one, anyway. Alright, coming back in here, just on this second one, and this one seems to be sitting a little bit skewed and doesn't want to rotate around there, so I'm going to take this apart and have a look at it, because I'm not happy with that. Right, there we go, that's a little better. I've sort of pared a little bit of the plastic away down here. Zoom in for you so you can see where we're at. So, whoops. So just down here I've pared, just down here I've pared away a bit of the plastic which it was catching on, and that's given it a little bit more flexibility. So that's now 2 pieces done. Flipping over just to make sure we're not missing anything, and indeed we're not. So that's magazine 84. Magazine 85. We've got the right spoiler and left spoiler. So that's this piece with 2 pieces of PE. We've got 3 IP screws, 3 TP screws, obviously both intended for screwing into plastic. I will remove 2 of each because we have 3 of each, so that means we're going to be using 2, of course. Carefully file that aside. And likewise with that one. And let's see what we do. Well, first of all, we have the same procedure with these little flappy spoiler things. So as you can see, we have got the dotted lines there, which dictate how these are to be folded. Using my trusty pliers, I shall tweak those upwards. Top tip, make sure you use trusty pliers, not rusty pliers. Rusty pliers are generally not conducive to a good job. Although if only thing you have is rusty pliers, then, you know, rusty pliers are better than no pliers at all. And then we're going to do the same with this other side. This is quite interesting for me because I've never actually worked with photo etch. I've never gone and bought aftermarket kits for model kits because, typically speaking, I like to build out a box and make the best of what I can out of the box. And in addition to that, I find that aftermarket kits for model kits are horrendously expensive. And for something that I'm going to display for a few years and then either give away or turn into something else entirely, I am frankly just not going to do that. You know, I'm just not spending that kind of money. No thank you. Now I'm guessing these fit into here. They do indeed, and then these accordingly fit into these. And you can see they are shaped in such a manner that they will fit a specific part in a specific orientation. Nice. Okay, so we need 2 TP screws to secure these. These are the long ones. Oops. Excuse me while I remagnetise my screwdriver. Much better. Okay. I'll squeeze this into here. Put this little fellow through here. Come on, Nick. I can tell you that these are a little bit fiddly because you've got to try and hold the metal parts in place in alignment with the holes. So a little bit fiddly, a little bit tricky, but perfectly achievable, and same kind of situation as before. Tighten that up a little bit more to give me movement, but there we go. Yes, nice, we like that. So we've got flappy bits with metal, and yeah, oh yeah, nice. I like that a lot. Very good. And we're going to do exactly the same with the other one, and then in a moment I'm going to find out what we're doing with the eyepiece screws, the two smaller ones. I suspect they're going to attach to the back of the torso. Fantastic. I think that's the right way around. Okay, so that's TP screws, and we now need the back plate that we did in the last bunch. That is here. And these bits are going to fasten onto here. So we will do, how do we go? There. There? That doesn't look right. I think I've got those the wrong way around. That looks better here. Okay, so IP screws. And this is just very straightforward. It fits into this little section here. So this section and this section. Let's bring that up for you so you can see those and how they look. Simply slots into place. If I can do that without dropping it again. Slots into place. And then one small, oops, oh come on. And then one small IP screw, which is being particularly obtuse right now. There we go. And there we have two rear flappy bits. Now that's interesting. Those metal bits are making that spring out, so I think they may need to be bent to the shape of that body. But we'll see later. We'll see what happens next, what comes next with them. For the moment, I'm just going to pop that aside. That's where we're at just now. In this one, we have got 5 pieces of plastic trim, and 7 pieces of plastic trim, and 5 IM screws, which means, of course, we're going to be using 4 of those. So I have to grab a hold of one of those if I can, tip out the remainder, and carefully file the remainder, and let's see what we're doing here. Okay, closing the chest. It seems that we are putting the back onto the chest piece. Right. So let's grab this fellow, which is obviously this big lump of a thing right here. And we're going to lift these up, of course. Okay, so it's essentially warning about the trickiness of inserting this mast, which operates the pusher for the chest arc reactor, explaining that it can be somewhat tricky, which it indeed can, getting that to line up because it's got to come through this little hole here. It can indeed be tricky because I've done that already, and unfortunately you cannot get your hand in there to guide it. You kind of have to just drop it in and try and wiggle things into place. A little bit fiddly, but it's achievable because I have done it. Oh, there we go. And there you can see the little mast there sticking. Oh, sorry. There you can see the little mast button sticking out there. So obviously we are going to be using, presumably, some of these screws to secure these parts onto and perhaps secure the back to the front. Let's see. So what's next? Once the mast has been fitted into a full, fit the two parts of the chest together without forcing them. With a little pressure, the rear part of the chest will fit into the slot in the neck piece. Okay. So that's not in place. So there we go. If you can see that there, that actually needs to be down here. There's a tab that fits into. I didn't see that previously. So there we go. That's actually snapped together now and the shoulders have come together. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can. There we go. And then 4 IM screws to close this together, which go into here, 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 and here accordingly. Fantastic. So right, they're quite tight. Okay. That's interesting. The screwdriver that they actually supply will not fit down into the recesses there, which means that we'll need the rubbish one that they also supplied, I suspect. Well, I can't find the rubbish driver that they sent. However, thankfully, I have this very nice JIS screwdriver, which I've used for numerous things and is a decent quality driver. But this would explain why they did send an additional one. Look at that, look at the depth difference there. That's how far down in the body that is. Obviously this red handled screwdriver is never going to reach that. But that would explain why they sent the additional screwdriver. Interesting. I did wonder why that one came with a later magazine. It did cross my mind as to why they would do that, but that kind of explains it. And it's a bit annoying because it's a bit of a rubbish screwdriver as well, that one. However, right, so we have fastened in the screws. Let's put these trim pieces up out of the way for a moment. So the next pieces are these, which are decorative pieces, which slot into here, nice and easy. Just decorative panels that, whoops, pretty up the back piece, like so. Then we need these, which go up onto the shoulder parts up here. Okay. Okay, they're slotting quite nicely in this orientation with the little exhausty bit to the inside, and like that. That slots in quite a drama-free way. Nice. And we're left with two little round pieces and the back plates, which seemingly we don't put in yet. So we've got this bit and these bits. I'm assuming these bits will go into there once that's screwed in place. That makes sense, doesn't it? That way around maybe, but it does make sense. Yeah, that looks like they fit into there once that's screwed in place. Perhaps I might be wrong. We will find out. Anyway, that's where we're at. The picture is showing this flattened down. This is not sitting flattened down, so I do suspect that this piece is supposed to be kind of bent to fit a bit. So I'm actually going to do a bit of bending of that, because that is making it sit proud. And that's a little better already. So yeah, that's going to need a little bit of forming to follow the curve of the armour. It's very springy, so I would suggest you do that very gently and ease it gradually, a bit at a time. But that's looking a bit better already. This is cool. I like all the flappy bits. It's very, very cool. Look at this. It's great. And then, you know, you've got all these. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it. So yes, a little bit of tweaking of that to get that to sit seems to be the order of the day. And that's the back piece on. Where that's going to go, I'm not sure. Not entirely sure. But we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. So that's where we're at. That's magazine number 86. Obviously the next ones are going to be 87, 88, 89 and 90. And we are getting very, very close to the finish line, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do the boring comic book bit for those who like it. Magazine 83, Biomechanoid Armour, Global Duel, Avengers versus X-Men. Interesting. That could be a good film, I think. The Phoenix 5. Mark III Armour Buildy. Hank Pym, a pillar of Marvel Comics, obviously Ant-Man. Father of a Monster. As well as being an adventurer and a leader, Hank Pym is a scientific genius whose designs and inventions rival those of Tony Stark or Reed Richards. His specialist subjects include biochemistry, nanotechnology, quantum physics and robotics, among others. Biomechanoid Armour, Avengers Mech Strike. Okay, that's very Transformers looking. This fella down here is very Optimus Prime-ish. Magazine number 84, we've got Iron Man and Hawkeye on the front, Iron Patriot. Fighting Thanos, Avengers Assemble. Avengers on the Ropes. Build-A-Bits. Fallen in Battle, Homicidal Iron Man. Old Iron Man there, the old plain metal suit. Iron Man and Captain America in a medieval knight kind of thing. Not sure what's happening there. And Iron Man and Guardsman. From Battle to Betrayal. Okay, that's somebody just being blasted through with the chest repulsor. So, nice. Iron Patriot, more than just a flag. When Norman Osborn, formerly Green Goblin, created his own group of Avengers, he adopted the identity of Iron Patriot, adding the colours of Captain America's suit into a confiscated Iron Man armour. Now there you go, that's interesting. I did not know Norman Osborn was Iron Patriot. I thought that was all part of the War Machine kind of thing with Rhodes, James Rhodes. Interesting. Galactic Iron Man, Space Vacation. War Machine Alien. Crisis in Orbit. It looks like we've got the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy here. We've got Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Groot and the other one whose name I forget. The Build-A-Bits. AIM, acronym for destruction. We've got a giant floating head. MODOK. Okay. MODOK, who's got a giant head and a tiny little mechanoid body. Not sure what that's about. I don't know anything about that one. The arrival of MODOK. Obviously he's a villain. War Machine Alien. And then we have got hold armour. Discover the history of Iron Man. Ultimate Mandarin, unexpected arrival. An unknown enemy. The building bits. Death metal, villains in armour. Ooh. The pilot of Detroit Steel is former United States Air Force Lieutenant Doug Johnson III from Invincible Iron Man Volume 1, 25. Okay. The Dreadnoughts, Curse and Dewitt, Magma, the Raiders, Ultimo, Unicorn. I'm assuming these are all villains that Iron Man has fought. War Machine, Hollow Armour. Presumably hologram related. Not sure. Okay. And there ends this particular month's worth of Iron Man builds. I hope you enjoyed this as all the previous builds. Here's where we are at. We've got a nice chunky body kit with these nice flappy bits with lots of articulated flappiness going on. There's so much flappiness going on here, it's just, I'm lost for words. There's flaps upon flaps upon flaps with metal bits and extra shoulder flaps. Look at that! It's like a little pair of dragon wings. Iron Dragon Wing Man. Amazing, love it. So that's where we are with this huge torso and some extra bits that we don't know where they go yet. Oh, hang on a minute, I do. This is going to go around here. I see what you're doing. That's definitely going around there, isn't it? Yeah, that's going into there. I see. Yeah, that makes more sense now. That's where we're going to start building up the front of the armour. Excellent! Can't wait for the next lot. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.